Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
And I'm Johnny B.
I'm Brush and Quill.
And I'm Jamie.
But together we are
Modiphius. The beautiful chorus. All right, let's just see who we got in the chat. We got Rich in the chat. We got Rich
in the
John
shot,
here.
sir.
We've got Josh Wood. I think he's a mate of yours, isn't he, Jamie?
Hello, Josh. Yes, he
Thomas
is.
Mortlock, hello there. We got Rosie in there, of course, looking after everybody beforehand. As she says, please remember to like the stream. Maybe check out some of the links, Facebook group and stuff. Nick from Team Clueless Games just popped in to say, sorry, I can't stay. Alid is here. I had a birthday yesterday, and despite these rugged looks and grey hair, I'm only 46. Terrifying truth that is.
46 hard years.
46. We have rough winters up north, mate. Or as someone put on my Facebook said, I must have been a hell of a paper round you had. Duncan FX is here. Duncan has just taken a commission from us. He is going to paint the Great Escape Games 12mm First World War. He reckons 3 to 6 months. So who knows? Maybe we'll be seeing them soon. We're going to try out their game.
They'll all be home by Christmas.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie to you. He's giving me a fantastic deal on it. I couldn't tell you his prices because I'm sure normally he charges quite a bit more than that. Right, Subs is here as well. Who else we got? E4 Airman is here. Heavy rain in Central Ohio. Go away. I mean, there's not much. We could maybe pray or something. Thomas Chase is here. The Head Rat. I love that name. Right then. That's that. Modeling wise, painting wise and stuff. I am going to be painting the Ceris Precision MDF from the Epic Waterloo set.
Di Costa.
High quality acrylic paint. Look at that beauty.
Well, that white paint's not very good.
It's beautiful. I'm going to be flocking the hell out of these Romans.
Romans! SBQ nearly ready, John.
It's so close, yet so far away. Callum, what are you doing, sir?
I'm also doing commission stuff. I'm painting up some Britishers.
Oh yeah, what are you doing them for?
I don't know. Some ginger-haired old person.
Oh, was that Ken from the PCP?
Yeah.
Awesome. Have you got anything on the desk tonight, Jamie?
I do. I've been magnetizing my Boromite hauler. It's a big old beast, but I've actually done it. I'm already done. I ordered some magnets, and they're big beastie things, but the hauler is staying on there, although it's a little bit fluid in the direction that it turns. And so I imagine I'm going to probably spend more of my time showing you about this app. But if I run out of app to show you, I've got some skeletons that are primed and need assembling. So
for those that don't know,
sweet.
The Antares, what are Boromites?
Boromites, they're like rockmen. I probably should have brought some up with me. I've just painted my Boromite army in the last few weeks, and they're pan-humans, humans that have evolved over millennia, and these particular ones have evolved to be kind of rock people, but they sort of their society is more akin to space dwarves. They're all miners, not young people, but miners that dig rocks for minerals.
They look like rocks, and they're very much into rocks.
Yeah, they're thematically pretty cool. Some of the best models in Beyond the Gates of Antares are in the Boromite army. They've got this one, the Boromite hauler, and then they've also got the Brood Mother, which is a big hulking monster of a thing. I haven't assembled that one yet, though.
Don't they look a bit like Korg from Ragnarok?
Yes, they do, or something like that, or the Thing from Fantastic Four. So the classic line, of course, when you're charging with your Boromite, it's clobbering time.
Yeah, of course.
Clobbering time.
Yeah.
Anyways, to hell that, Jamie, I'm right here. Come on, tell me who you are. Tell me.
Okay, so what is there to tell? So I'm Jamie. I've been a software developer for 15 years or so, and I've been a wargamer for longer than that. And I have a full-time job as a software developer, not doing anything especially exciting. I work in finance, but I know, but that pays the bills so that I can spend my free time building apps for the war games industry. So, which I'll tell you all about. But and then when I get time, I actually play war games. So my wife and I are avid board gamers and war gamers. And
you got a war gaming wife?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. She's also a looker as well. So I'm very lucky that I got the whole package.
Yeah, I mean, we met. Well, we didn't meet. I was in. It was the Warlord Open Day, which John kindly took me to last year, and I saw this beautiful young thing on a stall surrounded by a load of fat beardy blokes, and thought, I want to talk to this girl.
Yeah,
obviously.
And that was my wife. Yeah.
Join us up to something.
Well, she's a software developer as well. So we've got so many things in common that she recently sent me back to work. So I've been working from home like for pretty much most of lockdown, and they had the Beachhead show down here in Bournemouth recently, and I was helping Warlord Games at their stall all day. And when I got home, she was in a really good mood. And I said, "Why are you in such a good mood? You've been looking after the kids all day." And she said, "I'm in such a good mood because I've missed you all day, and I never really get to miss you anymore." Which later I realized that what she was actually saying was,
"Get up really nice
not having you here." And she sent me back to work. So I've been back in the office this week.
Yeah, my missus hates the weekend. Me and the boy at home. She's like, "Oh, come on, I need Monday off."
Yeah.
Right then, let's catch up with the comments, and then we get into the meat of it. Yeah, Tony Halton has joined the crew as well. Hi, Tony. Everyone, pray the rain away. You never know, it might work.
Speed paint.
Been trying out the new speed paint. Seem okay. I'm tempted by them. I'm tempted. Head Rat reckons Romans will win. I reckon you haven't been following the campaign, mate.
You need to get Christmas bonus.
Christmas bonus. Yeah, Nick Games is here. Howard Everton, hi all. Pinning putrid Blight Kings for a change. You finally talked me into Kill Team. Oh, mate, just persist with it. Get past all the BS, and it's actually all right as a game.
It's all right.
We're probably going to play some tomorrow
night. That's a glowing endorsement. That it's all right as a game.
It's all right.
Look, if you've got a lot of 40k miniatures you want to use, but you hate the rules for 40k, Blade Kill Team. It's not got any of that junk that just a million rules to argue about. Woodland Scenic Street armatures and rubberized horsehair. Oh, nice. Mate, that takes me back.
That's some proper modeling there.
Up on the Facebook group when you've done that, I'd be interested in seeing that. Jez Hunter's here, and the Head Rat Luck's got to change. All right, now before Jamie gets into what he's done, I owe Callum an apology because the last twice he's been on here, he sent pictures of what he's been working on, and we haven't got to them. So we're going to start with that. So Callum, Russian Quill, as it were, tell us what had you been up to a couple of months ago when you were last on and sent me these.
So these were actually in a video I did. I think the last video I did. They are. I'm trying to think. The Vanguard miniatures tanks, 6mm tanks, for their not epic Warhammer epic, not
They're
Warhammer
not epic.
Yeah. Turned backwards with a Scud missile on the back from TT Combat for my Drop Zone Commander.
Nice.
And as I say in the video, sorry, for my Resistance.
Resistance, that's the word.
And as I was saying in the video, it's sort of part of it's based on the idea from some tanks in history that you drive in, turn around, launch the missile, and then because you're facing the right way, you can zoom away quite quickly. To turn around again.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
These are from Tumbling Dice Miniatures. They're one whatever with loads of zeros on the end. Aeroplanes, was it like 3/400th or something like that?
So is that fighter plane? Is that about an inch across?
That Mustang is about the same size as a 5p piece.
Oh wow!
Wow.
That's a 20 mil square base.
Yeah,
And then I put
fill it.
Ordnance Survey map as the
I was
base
going to
material.
say, is that an OS map?
Smart.
Nice.
Yeah, I only got as far as painting 3 of them. I really need to finish them. The rules were just so complex.
Mate, you should try Blood Red Skies. They're not complex at all.
That's why I was
Right.
asking you about the Blood Red Skies rules. Yeah, this is those missiles again.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and that and that's a plug for your long show. That's how long
That happened.
That was in November. Yeah, that's one of the flying fortresses.
So the detail's pretty good for the size of the miniature, isn't it?
They're nice little miniatures, to be honest with you. There's some of my Blood Bowl Skaven for my stepdad.
Look at that.
Oh, I like those.
The Putty Rats. These are from Punga.
The Putty Rats.
I'm surprised you should have called them the Bilge Rats, surely.
Oh, no, I didn't name them. The company named them.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Sorry, I've not played Blood Bowl.
So they're by Punga Miniatures. They're 3D prints.
Ah, cool.
So called. I've got some more here.
So what's it?
Star players.
What does it set you back for a Blood Bowl team? Is it in paying for 3D prints? Then paying for the STL files?
Without looking up on the website, I couldn't tell you was the honest answer because they just got sent to me, and then I paid.
Right. Okay. So you don't have any context for that. All right. Okay.
I'm gonna say about $60.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're the cheapest, but to be honest with you, you can then print off as many of them as you want. So
yeah,
that's where you make your saving.
Unique looking too. Like it's kind of, if you're playing a lot of Blood Bowl, it looks like it'd be worth it to have.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the criticism of the GW ones at the minute is that you get the same team twice.
Yeah,
so you get half a team and then you get half a team.
Yeah, that's
whereas with these you get X number of unique sculpts. So you get every figure on the team is a unique sculpt. So,
and down Pull way, Jamie, they like the pirates, don't they?
Yeah, of course we do. We love pirates down here. I mean, we're not Cornwall, so we're not like all pirates, but
almost to the rest of us. Though, right?
I say we. I mean, I'm a northerner too, really, by birth.
Yeah, I thought I could hear it.
I never had where he ended up after being shipwrecked, you see.
Yeah, exactly. They kicked me out of the north.
You were transported.
I was, yeah. But, I mean, yeah, because I was born in Newcastle, grew up in Sunderland, so basically everything's down south.
Born in Newcastle and grew up in Sunderland. Did
yeah.
You get ruthlessly beaten up at school?
No. Well, I mean, yes, but not
a lot of rivalry there, right?
That's how we ended up in the ocean and floated round.
Yeah. That's the thing that's nice about living down here. Nobody cares where in the northeast you're from. In fact, most people, I just tell them I'm a Geordie, because if you say I'm a Mackham, they don't know where you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's catch up with the chat then. Trying out the new speed paint. Right. Oh, Head Rat reckons your luck's got to change, John. I mean, it's a great saying. Who knows if it's true?
I mean, yeah.
In the FPQ. His lucky
game to the gods
has transformed. I tell you what, the Kill Team video is coming out on Friday. If you want to watch John win hard, what's that game? Question. Do you set quality versus quantity goals when starting a new build and paint projects from Perkins Dearborn? Quality
next
versus quantity. I because of the whole YouTube thing, I would say I was a speed painter in terms of technique, but not in terms of speed. So sometimes if it's like a commander figure, John and I will have a painting day, and basically he'll paint highlights on my hero models and so forth. I'm a base coat, dry brush, then cover it in Agrax Earthshade. John, quality or quantity, or do you actually set goals?
I do not set goals because that would just destroy it for me as a hobby. It's always quality. It's not even that. It's not even quality. It's just what I want. Until I'm content with the miniature, that's when it's done. But yeah, regards, yeah, I don't work like that. Simple. Callum, I can imagine you're sort of guy that gets a project, lays it down, and gets to it? Maybe not immediately, but I can imagine you have a clear vision of what you want.
Yeah, generally, I have an idea about where a project's going to end up. It doesn't always end up there, but generally I have an idea. So I'll work to an army list of 15,000 points and then collect everything for that. As far as quality versus quantity, I think that it depends on the scale. So, I'm not akin to quoting Stalin very often, but when you're in 6 mil, quantity has a quality of its own.
Indeed.
And it's not about I painted eyeballs on everybody. The thing. Whereas if I'm painting, something
the
like
eyeballs
this,
are bigger than their shackles.
yeah. If I'm painting something like this, which is like a 90 mil bust, then I'm going to be pulling out every technique I know to get it as good as I can, because you will see everything, So, but I'd also say that once you get to I'm painting this stuff for you, and Kaiser said, "Oh, don't go absolutely mad." And it's like, well, because I know how to paint white trousers the way I do, then I can do it quite quickly.
Yeah, because you know how to paint.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know how to paint that color that way, so I can do it quickly. So,
which to a lot of people, white is a real challenge.
Yeah. Once you crack a color, then you get quality and quantity.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I've got green down.
Do you do a white and then like a soft tone ink or something, or do you do something more complicated than that?
Vallejo.
Would you ask the Colonel how he
Iraqi sand.
seasons his chicken?
Yes, I
no.
It's old wood, then Iraqi sand, then buff and ivory, and then on the officers I'll put ivory.
Crikey, that's a lot more steps than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, but I do them in 5s, and by the time we get to the 5th one, the first one's dry.
Fair enough.
Sweet.
About you, Jamie, then quality versus quantity.
I mean, neither really. I start off thinking quality, but it's really like, how much can I be asked? So, so with all the app work for a while, I wasn't painting my own miniatures. I actually commissioned a fellow called Chris MacLeod, who is a fantastic painter and he's local, and he painted all of my Wasteland Warfare miniatures for me, and did a great job with them. But now that I'm collecting Beyond the Gates of Antares, there's just so many more models, and I bankrupt myself. He's very reasonable price wise, but I now have to try and balance that quality and quantity. But since I discovered inks rather than dry brushing, I never dry brush anything anymore. I just paint flat colors and then cover them in ink, and they usually come out okay.
Colored inks.
Yeah. So I got the.
I've always found them really vivid, but I'm not a very accomplished painter. I found the color they leave behind too strong.
Yeah, well, they can be. I mean, so it depends what you're going for, because this thing was just it's mostly just desert yellow spray from Army Painter, and then I absolutely caked it, and you can tell it's supposed to look grimy. At least that's what I'm going to say, because it does look grimy.
Yeah, pro move, like it.
But I was going to use the strong tone, because I use that on a lot of things to give it a lot of contrast. It looks almost cartoony. But I used the strong tone for so much other stuff that I didn't have a lot of it, and it's a big old vehicle. So I picked the military shader, because I don't use military shader for anything else. And it came out all right. It does look kind of grubby, but it's like, it fills in all the recesses, and it took away all that flat color that I was trying to get rid of. So
yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I did my 10 mil elves with dark tone, the black one. And everything over the base coats. But then I found that the way to super detail them was decals. Put decal on the shield, and they look really quality.
Decal can really lift a model, especially if you've got like metal armor or military colors, uniforms.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting some Greek hoplites and doing exactly that, because you've got all those nice flat shields that you can get some decent decals on.
Yeah. There's some beautiful ones that come out. What's the company called? There's all those ancient decals.
Little Big Man. It's
beautiful
Big
stuff.
Man, definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. I was interested in what you said about strong tone. So until during COVID, our local game insurer as it closed down and hasn't reopened, unfortunately.
Right.
And what that means is I don't have GW paints on tap, which was made. I had Vallejo colors for all the military models where I need specific shades, but most of my paint collection outside of those specific military colors is GW. But now they're not there, and I can't just go down and pick one up any day of the week. I'm like, maybe it's time to rethink and be a bit more selective in what I use. And I think the first thing I need to do is wean myself off Agrax Earthshade, which is going to be hard because it's on every model I've ever painted, just about.
Yeah, man.
And maybe have a go with Strong Tone and so forth.
You can buy that and they do a sepia wash as well, don't they? Which is similar. Which is
Strong Tone and Soft Tone. They've got like various. It's like a brownie kind of one, but I've already used that for a long time because what I wanted was I didn't want everything to look like it had brown shadows, but it actually doesn't look too hard. Oh, you've got some of the dip. See,
I've got some of the soft tone if you want to borrow it, mate.
Everyone's got a tin of that, mate.
I used it once and it made it a bit sort of
shiny.
Satin. Yeah,
but it does. But because it's got varnish in it, that's why.
Yeah. But even you can use like a matte spray on that. But I just found, maybe I was doing it wrong, but I just found that it didn't do what I wanted it to do, which was I basically wanted to put a coat of dark red on my Algarin, dip them all in that, and I left them over a weekend while I went away. When I came back, they just didn't really look any better. They were just sticky.
Oh, nice.
I did my Bretonians with the dark tone version of that, and I brushed it on.
Yeah. That's what I should have done.
And then
burnt the brush.
Yeah, you can't use it for anything.
And then put that over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some results with it, but
varnish.
It was a wonder product of its day, and everybody bought a tin, and most people no longer use it.
I mean, are we excited for the speed paints then?
Yeah.
All right, look.
I'm thinking the speed paints are basically the light contrast paints. Yeah. They're just
contrast paints. Yeah, absolutely.
Shut up and take my money.
Sub says Kill Team's not as bad as 9th edition. You're 100% right there. Been taking a peek at Grimdark Future rules. That's 1-page rules, isn't it, John?
It is, yeah.
You've tried them, right?
I've not tried it yet, but on Battle Nights there will be a report going up with our very own Clueless Mike. He managed to get a game in with Jason from Battle Nights of that, and he enjoyed it.
Battle Nights for people that want to watch it.
It will be, yeah. We'll at some point. I don't know when, but
when it comes out, we'll put it on the Facebook page so you can see it. And there's a lot of interest in it. Is that out? The Chaos of My Paints or design armor for the evening? Designing armor. No worries, Gary. Nice to see you. 1/400 scale. I think it's much smaller than that. So my Epic Space Marine from the. I wish I still had my Epic collection. I really enjoyed that game. It was when Games Workshop made good games. Smack base is excellent. Duncan FX, so just catching up with that. Bag the Hun rules, not bad for World War II, he says. Northern Monkeys, that's us. Move to Maycomb Land, I don't know what that is. I never get to done and satisfied. I put this to do you know Elster Nation? He was on not Elster Nation. It was one of the guys on the Orc War Boss channel. They invited me on for their New Year's show, and I was talking about varnish. I'd never varnish a model because it's never finished. He said, "Don't worry, mate. You can paint over the top of varnish. Just consider it a save point. You can rub it off if you don't like it."
Yeah, true.
I was like, mate, he varnishes everything. Once he's happy with the layer, he's like, "Yep, varnish it, then keep going." Depends on context. Is exactly right. Yeah. I mean, because of the YouTube channel, so much of my painting is dictated by what we need for the next video.
Yeah, true.
I'm very anxious to try and provide at least something different in each video. Sometimes it's a new unit, bit of scenery to try and stop the games from being really samey. Does it look good from 2 feet away, Subs? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Quantity,
that's the beauty of I don't have very good eyesight, so actually, 2 feet away.
Yeah, mate, do it. I don't like playing against unpainted armies now. That doesn't mean I'd flatly refuse to, but it doesn't matter how good the painting is, and it doesn't matter if it's all painted, as long as you're working on it, progress. But the game is a shared experience, I think, and the spectacle and the playing, Polly Pocket houses is a part of that. It's a scenery, all those things that what got us into wargaming was probably looking at something beautiful and thinking, I want that. And the guys who just buy tournament list armies, glue them together and want to play, that's not why I'm into this.
Heavy metal pictures got me into a hobby, definitely.
Yeah. Agrak search on top of a base coat done. Yeah, absolutely. Brad, dipping quick. Do you use it, Subs? You're the only man alive still on with that. We'll all post you up if you want.
I've got two tins downstairs.
Or does he dip himself? Is that what you mean?
I dip my models in tea. Works a treat. Right. Okay. Brushing it on works way better than dipping. All right. Duncan, if you're still using it, maybe use a video about why it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is. Varnish, take away the shine. Yeah, absolutely. Have you heard of The Last War? It's by the fellow who did Forbidden Psalm. It's a solo co-op weird World War One. No, I don't know that.
No.
Assam tea is best. I like English breakfast, by the way. If it's tea. 50 million regular World War One troops in the mail today. I suspect there's some quite old sculpts, aren't there? Some irregular done some interesting things, but I think they're the same figures I saw 30 years ago as a boy. I had a lot of the Napoleonics ones, but they're cheap.
My SA army is irregular miniatures. They're all right sculpts. They're a bit old though.
Yeah, they do the job. They do the job, absolutely. Right then, let's talk about Jamie. Hey,
Jamie.
So, Jamie, you're not just beautiful and into Boromites. You're actually an app developer, and at the moment, you're working on a Warlord Games app. Is this correct?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what we got you here.
No, yes, I am. And not just me, actually, my wife as well. The aforementioned beautiful Stacey. So she's gone more into it than I have because she quit her job to work on it full time with me. Whereas I only get to work on it evenings and weekends.
Mate, she got it bad.
She does. So this is so it's the cat was let out of the bag here in September, the Warlord Open Day, but obviously not everyone got along to the Warlord Open Day. So
it was in the middle of COVID and everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But it was great to go up there because I'd seen their old offices and their new ones are like phenomenal, really, really nice. And just to talk to people about it finally, rather than keeping it a secret. But before I get into what the app is, I probably should explain the circumstances that led to me developing this. So to summarize very quickly, through pure chance, I ended up building the official list builder app for Fallout Wasteland Warfare, which is published by Modiphius Games.
Show us.
I can show you. Sure. It's so if I just.
It's a real thing, right? This app, it's out there. You can, for anyone that bought that Kickstarter and has never played it. Look, this is what you need.
Yeah. So this is a fairly in-depth, more than just a list builder. So this had happened because I'd back in 2018, I pre-ordered Wasteland Warfare. As soon as it arrived, I played it and I loved it. But it's got all these little tokens that you've got to move around, and I've got like these big, ungainly sausage fingers that don't really move tokens around very well. I'd always leave them in the wrong place and forget who they belong to. So I thought, I wonder if there's an app out there that like to track all of this stuff on your phone. And there wasn't. I thought, if only I knew someone who writes software for a living. So I actually made an app, which I wonder if I've got the first version still online. I put the original version of the app online for free. Because this is it. Because it took me about 2 hours to build, and it's basically you have to add a character, you give the character their name, so it'd be like Soul, Survivor, and then you'd have to add your next character, and it would be like Super Mutant or whatever, and you would just use this to track how many wounds they've taken, whether they've acted this turn, whether they've got extra bonus dice, that kind of thing.
Just help with tabletop clutter, yeah?
Yeah, it was just to reduce the tabletop clutter. The problem being is that if you accidentally refresh the page, you lose all of that. And...
Oh, boo!
Oh, no.
But it took me like 2 hours to build, and I played my first game with it and proved the concept worked. And And so then it then evolved into this was about a month before Dragon Meet 2019, 2018, sorry. And I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is try and build a better version of this in time for Dragon Meet and go and show it off to some people there, because they were going to be running a Wasteland Warfare tournament. So I spent like all of October, so all of November, just building this app in all of my free time. Then, unfortunately, the tournament, the Wasteland Warfare tournament, had to get cancelled. And Chris Birch, the CEO of Modiphius, reached out personally to everyone that had signed up and said, unfortunately, we've had to postpone the tournament. Would you still like to come to Dragon Meet, or would you like a refund? And that gave me the perfect opportunity to say, well, actually, I've been working on this app, and I'd like to be able to show it to you guys and maybe to sell it. Would you mind if I charge a small amount? And he said, unfortunately, you can't really charge anything for it unless it was the official app. But we could make it the official app. And just through, I was flabbergasted and ended up building the official app. But it took a while to get it out because of personal commitments and just the amount of work that went into it. But it's a force builder. So for building your actual lists, so you can kind of choose whether it's unrestricted or battle mode, and it handles all of the so if I'd like to say aspirant Goddard there, it handles all of the equipment, the perks and stuff, and you can like preview the cards. Now Modiphius actually give all the cards away for free as PDFs on their website, but having them in the app is just a little bit more convenient, I find, and there's so many cards, there's stacks of them. Being able to search specifically for a pistol or looking for a specific one like a revolver of some sort, it's a bit more convenient. And then obviously the original idea was a battle tracker, so I can then track everything in here and do things like there's an AI mode like for single player, and you can app building is clearly sorcerer work. It definitely is. Yeah, there's an AI mode. You can play single player, which obviously was great for lockdown. There's lots of people playing Wasteland Warfare single player at home, and you can just click on Get AI Action, and it asks you any pertinent questions that are specific to that unit, and then calculates what it's supposed to do next for you. So that it's just about reducing complexity. Like you don't want to have to go and keep checking the rule book for everything. And then on top of that, it does other things like handling settlement tracker. It's got a library of all the cards and all these kind of things. So it's just like a companion for playing the game, but you can completely play the game without it. And so yeah, and
that is crazy deep, man.
It's
all the thing. I
like it. And the thing is, I was building this for me, right? Because I was playing this with a friend of mine who's also a software developer. And I stopped inviting him around eventually, because every time we played, we'd come away with like a long list of things that I needed to improve. And because this was like first hand, like I always knew what I wanted in the app, and so it kind of grew from there. But the reason I say all this is because this became the kind of foot in the door at Warlord. So back at the end of 2019,
because it's not just talk, right? You've actually got a product to show them. I work
exactly.
Yeah.
Back at the end of 2019, I was going to I went down to my local game shop, Entoyment, and I saw there was a sign up advertising. They had a guest speaker from Warlord by the name of Charlie Monahan talking about Black Seas, and I was thinking to myself, that name sounds familiar. It couldn't possibly be Charlie Monahan, who I used to work with at the cinema in Bolden in Sunderland, which is like 370 miles away. 17 years ago. There's no way it's that Charlie Monahan. But if it was that Charlie Monahan, he probably would work for a company like Warlord Games. So I went upstairs, and sure enough, it was him. And I recognized him straight away. He didn't recognize me straight away because I have a lot less hair than I had at age 18. But yeah, we caught up, and I told him about the app, because that was like a big part of my life at that point. And we then talked about me doing something similar for Warlord whenever I got the Fallout stuff out of the way. And it took a little while for that to happen. I had to get the Fallout work finished, and then I needed a break. But at the beginning of 2020, we started with the Warlord app. So, and that's this one that you see here. So so it's currently in beta, but the idea behind this is to be a list builder and other things. So you see with the Fallout app, that's got the battle tracker in there. It's got reference material in there, so you don't have to open your rule book, that kind of thing. And we want the Warlord app to be much the same thing, but not just for one game, but for all of Warlord's games. So to begin with, so I built a proof of concept back at the beginning of 2020 for Black Seas. So it's not completely polished. This is like kind of in beta, and Black Seas hasn't really been our main focus recently because more people play bolt action. But I will get to bolt action. But the idea here is that you can build a list the same way that you would build it in Wasteland Warfare. So you can select, I want a 5th rate ship, and then I can go to that 5th rate and now I can change the experience level. It'll update my points values and add whatever upgrades that I need to. So I had swivel guns, overgunned, and as soon as I get to the point where I can't add any more, it's telling me so I don't accidentally over-equip my ship. And then when I'm all done with that, I can now add that to a battle and track the battle on my phone. And this is again because there's a certain amount of things that you have to track on the table, and with Black Seas they have these cards that you track your hull points on.
It's quite a token heavy game if you start playing with upgrades and stuff.
Yeah, it is, and for some people that's what you want, right? But for me, I always forget to move the tokens. I always
with the ship. Yeah,
I knock it off either accidentally or on purpose because it's a good excuse to reset my hit points. And so this is so you can do things like change your ammo type from like to double shot or chain shot. You can change your level of sail on here. You can change your hull points. So I can sort of, I've lost a few hull points there. I'm down to 98, that kind of thing. And then you can also change like the flag. You get these little tokens that you can use to identify each ship. So you can select which token you've put next to which ship. And then do things like
they might come on the flank sheets as well, so you can put them on some of the rigging isn't the right word, but
I know what you mean. Right. So the idea was to just kind of move a lot of that manual tracking into the app. And then, we thought, well, why stop at Black Seas? Originally, it was going to be, we'll build a Black Seas app, and then we'll build a bolt action app, and we'll build a Judge Dredd app. But then when we were talking about it, we said, well, why not just build one app to rule them all? And so that's what it started to become. So at the moment, it's only got 3 games in there, which is Bolt Action, Black Seas, and Blood Red Skies. But each of them demonstrates something different. Black Seas demonstrates the battle tracker. Blood Red Skies, we've got this card library, which clearly needs a refresh there. I think there we go. We'll pretend we didn't see that. So this is kind of demonstrating a kind of a card heavy game and representing all of that in the app. And then Bolt Action, which I'm sure is probably what most people want to see, is that this is demonstrating how we can take a game that's incredibly complex and has a huge amount of data and try to make it easy to use, right? And there are obviously others have attempted this before, and I'm not under any illusions about being the first person to the party here. We've got some questions on it here as well. We've got that should be that can follow. Yeah, and so to Perkins' comment here, like I spent a long time hoping that I would come across like the perfect problem that I wanted to solve. When people say, just do what you're passionate about and success will come and that kind of thing. And this is the thing I'm passionate about. I'm lucky that I found it. Slain will almost certainly make its way on there. One of my personal wish list of games that will end up in here is Beyond the Gates of Antares and Judge Dredd. But Slain obviously is also 2000 AD, same rule system, and Strontium Dogs. So I think with that, the extra complication is talking to Rebellion about it, because they own the IP for Judge Dredd and Slain and Strontium Dogs. So any representation of those within the app would have to probably be run by those guys first.
And that Rebellion logo is on everything.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah.
But on the plus side, it means they've been able to use all of that original artwork and stuff. We've got the Strontium dog, and it's all straight from the comics.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It'll look beautiful. Being able to use all of that. So yeah, Slain will surely make its way in there eventually. Ideally, we want every game that Warlord do to end up in this app. How long that takes depends on how successful it is, because at the moment, like I say, I'm doing this in evenings and weekends. I've got 2 young kids. I've got a wife. I've got, in theory, I've got a life outside of all of this, but
in theory,
yeah, exactly.
In theory. So can you show us then? Can you from the beginning, right? So, because straight up, a lot of people who play bolt action, they'll use the Easy Army. It's an obvious point of comparison.
Yeah.
So if you go in and create, can you create a company of German infantry?
Yeah.
And let's take that from take it through those steps. So you got no swastika on there, so that people can play it around the world, right?
Yes, exactly. So if I'm just going to call it. I'm not very original. I'm just going to call it Germany.
Yeah.
And where I think I naively, when I agreed to build the bolt action list builder, I naively thought, well, it's just going to be like the Fallout list builder, but just more units. And that's obviously not true, because
you hadn't seen the bookcase full of supplements for the game, haven't you?
Well, actually, at that point I had, but I hadn't realized that. So with most of these kind of games, it's just a bucket that you're just putting all of the units into. So I add this unit, I add that unit.
Right. Yeah.
You know, with bolt action, you've obviously got these theater selectors that determine what units you're allowed to take. So I thought, okay, well, what we need to do is make sure we group the selections in that way, so that it's obvious why you're taking a given unit. So to begin with, this is going to select the reinforced platoon, the default theater selector.
Yeah.
I can change that if I want to, so I can go to select theater. And I haven't put all of the data for the theater selectors in there, but most or all of the unit data should be in there now. So if I selected Blitzkrieg 1939, then I'll get a slightly different theater selector here. You can see I've got to have here infantry squads as opposed to just any infantry. So what I'm actually going to do, just to demonstrate this, one of the selling points I think for this will be the fact that you'll be able to change theater selectors after you've created your army, because I imagine that this must happen with other list builders as well, where you've got a particular set of troops, right? And you probably have a particular force in mind. Like if you're going to play a 1,500 point game, you've probably got your 1,500 points of Germans that you usually use. But then your friend says to you, well, actually, we're going to do the Blitzkrieg theater selector. Can you put together a German force for that? Mm-hmm. So what you want to be able to do is take your standard 1,500 point list and just pour it into the Blitzkrieg theater selector and see what breaks, and then make tweaks that you need to. So this will allow you to do that. So if I start by selecting units, I'm going to select one officer, and then I'm going to select deliberately not here squads. So I'll select a Hitler Youth squad, and
you know it's not going to be in the theatre select. Yeah,
correct. And an Ostrophen squad. In fact, no. What I'll do is I'll do the Hitler Youth squad, and I will select a here infantry squad.
So you can demonstrate. All right.
Yeah. So at that point, I can't add any more. I can like minus that, I can plus that, but it'll keep me honest, so that I can't add too many to that particular group. So I then go back to my force, and they're added there. If I want to go and make any changes to them, I just tap on them, and I've got a list of their weapons. I've got any of the options that I can add. So I can give the NCO a light submachine gun. That gets added to the list of weapons up there. I get all my special rules are listed here, and that's dynamic. So if I add anti-tank grenades, they get tank hunters. And if I tap on that, I get the description of the rules. Now, the idea here, the philosophy behind this whole app is, if you have to open your rule book while you're playing a game, then I've done something wrong. If you have to open your rule book while you're building a list for the game, then I've probably done something wrong as well. Like, I want you to be able to stand at the bus stop and knock together a 1,500 point list of Germans
and not remember any of it.
Yeah,
I think you don't need to bring prior knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to know how to play the game, right? You've still got to know the rules, but you shouldn't have to open the rule book for reference anymore. That's the goal, is that anything you need to reference, if you need to know what a particular special rule does, it should be at your fingertips. So let's say I've now done my hero infantry squad there. I can go and make changes to my my lieutenant. So if I change him to a captain, for example, and I go back, it's now going to complain because for that group in the theatre selector, he has to be a first or second lieutenant or lieutenant. Or
right.
So if I change him back to a lieutenant, and that goes away. Now, if I go and change the theatre selector from the default one to Blitzkrieg and go back, you notice that now I've still got my here infantry squad, but it's complaining because I've only got one. And if I scroll down to the bottom, okay, so I'm showing a slightly older version because this is the live version. My local version, it shows invalid units at the bottom, so that will be there, and then you'd be able to make changes and reassign them. But then
if you select an invalid unit, is it then going to provide you with the list of alternatives that would go in a similar slot?
No, what it'll do is it'll tell you why that unit is invalid. At the moment, I haven't figured out exactly how I need a way for you to easily correct that, other than just telling you what's wrong. What you can do is you can make whatever changes you need to, and then you can change the theatre selector and then change it back again. But that's obviously not a great experience. I need an easier way to kind of make that work. So I'm thinking of putting like an auto fix button in where it will attempt to make those changes for you. If it's the right unit, but it's the wrong experience level, or it's the right unit and the wrong options are selected, that kind of thing. So yeah, and then I can change the theatre selector back to default, and it will just pour them back into the whichever groups match. They won't always be the same groups because it's just trying to make an educated guess as it goes through each one. But most of the time, it seems to work pretty well from the way I've experimented. So if I then was to keep putting some more in here, so I'll add an officer. I'll add a field ambulance instead of a medic because they're allowed in any medic slot, and a forward observer. I'll just keep on adding. And that should be a captain. So that's actually supposed to auto select captain. So that I'm identifying bugs live here on the stream, which is great.
Why not?
And so I'll select a few more. I'm just going to click willy-nilly wherever and add things in. Mortar team.
Now I'm noticing there's no confirmation button here.
There's not. It's all.
That's obviously a design choice.
It is, yeah. So I did think about that, about whether you should add the units and then click OK and add them to the force, because there's a couple of different ways you can do it. A lot of list builders here will get you to configure the unit first and then add it to the force, and that's okay. I don't like that. Yeah, I personally
I want to do this quick.
Yeah, it's one less click or one less tap, and if you just want the default, then you've got less screens to go through. So it won't be everyone's preference, and it might be that if enough people complain about it, I'll add the option to do it either way. But when you're done, so I'm going to add a couple of tanks on as well. We'll add a Flampanzer on there. And you'll notice as well, transports and tows, it's got 0 to 9 here. And the reason for that is because I've got 9 infantry. If I was to delete one of my infantry there and scroll down, then that's now 0 to 8. So it tells me I'm allowed up to 8 transports. So I can go and add those on. I'm just going to do 5 field cars and 3 Kugel wagons, and then
that's a cheese list, by the way. Just running.
Okay.
That's about getting cheap dice in the bag, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So, then, and I can go and make any changes to those that I want to. In this case, with the experience, but it tells me the transport value and stuff as well. So now, obviously, that's all well and good. But what a lot of people want isn't to be using the app during the game. I personally would like to, because I've got all the rules to hand. But what a lot of people want will be a printout, a PDF of the force. Right. So one of the things I can do, I can lock the force anytime I want, just so I don't accidentally delete anything. And so I get rid of any of those empty groups that I'm not going to use. But I can also then export it as a PDF. So if I do that, now I don't know if you're not seeing it because I'm not sharing that tab. Hold on. I can fix this. I'm sure I can fix this.
Oh, careful!
Pro move.
We don't want to see that tab.
No, that's.
Whoa!
Nah, I'll go back. So let me see if I can change my my share to show you the PDF, because it would be no good for me to tell you about the PDF and not show you it. That would be
without pictures. It isn't true, mate.
So stop screen, and then let's see how good of a techie I am. Share screen.
Let's check. Will there be any warnings for if you're deliberately making a cheese list, as Michael said? Will there be any warnings where it immediately shuts down? Or...
I mean, I can certainly see about putting something like that in. So I think I'm trying to now to share my PDF tab, but it's not. I think I need one of you guys to approve.
Oh, all right.
That's okay. I just want. There we go. So this is what it looks like. It's what you would hope to get, I guess, out of an export of your army. You've got the each of the units grouped by the group that's in the theater selector, any of the weapons that they've got selected, and then down at the very bottom you've got so there's all my transports and tows, and then at the bottom you've got all the special rules that are part of this this army. So because I've got a flamethrower on the the Flam Panzer, that's included down here. So again, I don't want someone to have to open up the rulebook. I mean, bring the rulebook with you to the game by all means, but knowing that I do this with Beyond the Gates of Antares because I use Battlescribe for that at the moment. I don't, because I haven't built the Battlescribe part of the app yet, and it does something similar. It gives you a lot of the special rules, and that's great because it means I can just I tend to. I've got all of the armies, so I'll give them to. I'll build up the armies for my opponent and give them the printout, and they've got all the special rules that they need, even if they're brand new to the game. So
can you put a trigger in there as soon as your army acquire the flamethrower rule? It just brings up like a little marker that says some players may consider this a bit cheesy. When it gets the second one, I think most players would consider this a cheese list. And
I think I need
this would be illegal in most tournaments and is outlawed in casual play.
I should definitely. It feels like every unit needs a like a cheese tick box.
Cheese racing.
So Kaiser was saying at the start at some point there about cheap dice in the bag. And I was at the top of the thing. Does it keep a total of how many dice you've got?
It doesn't, but actually, Josh, who is on the chat somewhere, did suggest that to me recently, and it's on my backlog. So. And I can't believe I overlooked that because it would be super useful to just know how many dice you need to bring to the game. So it's easy enough to add. It's just not on there yet.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's simple to just go down and count, but
yeah, but why should it's simple enough for me to count for you, right? So there's a couple of things I think that can be improved about the PDF generally there, but
so one of the things that Easy Army has, which is not coming up there, especially for people who've got large collections across multiple cases and stuff, is it's not got a picking list.
Not yet, no. So it's
he tells you, you're going to need 27 riflemen, 3 loaders, 3 machine gunners,
absolutely.
and I find that useful.
Yeah,
very useful.
So
I
mean, it's
not for building the list, but for knowing what I need to take down to the club.
Yeah.
I can't take it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the features that some people have asked for quite early on was to be able to kind of track your collection, so you can say these are the things that I own, and I'd like to be able to kind of build that in so that not only can it tell you these are the models you should take, but to be able to tell you don't have the models to build this army, and these are the models you need to buy, that kind of thing as well.
With links to the store.
Yeah, exactly right. Because that's the thing. It works for me because that will hopefully drive traffic to the store, and I'll get like a small commission on anything purchased. So that's for my best interest as well. But it's definitely further down the road, just because at the moment, like the MVP here is to get it so that people are playing bolt action using this list builder and it's working, and they're not getting any issues with the theater selectors or anything like that. And Josh has been really helpful testing that out down at Entoyment. So I've got his endorsement, I hope.
Can I show you? I don't know how clear this is. This is something that I make by hand to illustrate our bolt action games.
Nice.
So when we're doing the deployment, because the problem with the military stuff is everybody's in green and brown on a green and brown board covered in trees. You never actually see that. And John's models here, I'll zoom in a little. John's models are beautiful. When he bothers to paint them, they look nice. And this is kind of the only way you're ever going to get to see them really in any detail. But I realized that in doing this as a kind of just based upon like what you'd said there, I found that once I'd started creating these cards for use in the video, it was actually much easier to build armies. It's like, okay, so this is how I like to take my infantry squads. I would like an app that had that pre-built.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You said that a little bit with your Fallout. Said, okay, I want my infantry squads like this. I take a 2-man command team because I don't want to get stitched up with a small team rule, or whatever else. People will have certain modes of play.
Yeah, yeah.
And if those building blocks could somehow be put in, that would be a really nice feature.
Yeah,
like the My Collection, even perhaps the option to add your own photos.
Yeah. So actually, adding your own photos is something that we already have for Wasteland Warfare. Partly because you'll quite. I think it's quite common to proxy models in a game like that because not everyone wants their Soul Survivor to look the same, and there's so many movies out there that fit that kind of post-apocalyptic feel. I hadn't honestly thought of doing something like that for bolt action, but I can see why you would want to do that because I guess it's also common to proxy models because there's so many World War II minis out there as well. And even if you're not proxying models, just like you say, seeing the paint job differently. So yeah, and
just having the pre-calculated points, knowing that that it's 73 points to take an LMG in it. Now a lot of us know that in our heads, but actually being able to slot those blocks in. Because I think most people's bolt action army starts with a good chunk of the points already spent. And my Batman, and my medium mortar, and my spotter, and my 2 basic rifle teams. They just that in many ways I want it to be pre-filled.
Well, so I guess the nearest thing that the app currently can do for you in that respect is the idea that you can build your standard army and then change the theater selector, and I don't think it's actually in here at the moment, but it's on the backlog, is the ability to duplicate your army. So you can build your standard army, duplicate it, and then experiment and change it. So you could achieve some of the same kind of end by doing that.
But I mean, I think if you're doing standardized stuff, a good place maybe to start would be the armies they suggest from the starter sets and the army deal boxes. Because when you buy like a British force, it tells you what you're making, doesn't it? It says you're going to build
so they can be preloaded into the app.
Yeah, or even just a QR code you scan.
Yeah, so that's another thing we do. It's almost like you've used the Fallout app already because we do. You can share your.
I literally downloaded it today.
Well, so you can share your forces in the Fallout app via a QR code. So you build your force, generate a QR code, and your friend scans it, and now they've got it on their phone. So we'll be putting the same functionality into this app for sure. But yeah, the thing is that there's we've got a huge roadmap of stuff that we want to add to this, and because we're war gamers, like a lot of these are the ideas that we want as well. We're not coming up with ideas that are profitable. We're coming up with ideas that are useful. And hopefully profit will follow.
This is great. It's all great. It's not complete. We know that much. Where the hell can you find it though?
So you can currently get it at app.warlordgames.com. And it's currently in beta. So that means that it's currently free. But
I like it.
But when it eventually is done, like when we consider that bolt action is done enough that we think, right, this is good enough that you could charge a small amount of money for it, that's exactly what we'll be doing. Because I don't work for Warlord, Stacey doesn't work for Warlord, and we don't get paid by Warlord. They do give me miniatures to slate my thirst for miniatures from time to time, but my best interests are served by making this app succeed and making it so that people don't mind paying £2 a month to get access to everything. right? And that's the kind of price range we're looking at, right? £2 a month is
for everything.
And to reiterate,
I don't want like pricing tiers, and I don't want like anything like that. It has to be simple so that you know that, right, I'm going to be playing a lot of Bolt Action this year. I'm going to sign up to the app, and then I haven't played Bolt Action for 3 months. I'm going to cancel my sub and resubscribe later. And it'll be as simple as that.
And that's when you get the email saying a month free if you sign back up.
Yeah. Well, you know, because I want you to get the most out of the app, and you can't do that if you're not paying me money for it. So yeah. But it's at app.warlordgames.com. It's not yet on Google Play or on iOS yet, but it will be. So that's the other thing about this. Like, it's going to be cross-platform. You'll be able to use it on your phone and then go onto your computer and continue it on there, and then go to your tablet, your iPad, whatever. So.
And this is a Warlord app. This isn't just about Bolt Action. Is just part of a much bigger plan, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's the official Warlord app. It's for all Warlord stuff. And if there's more Warlord games that we haven't added into the app, then there's more work for us to do.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Come on, Black Powder.
Jamie, that was great. I did want to talk about this before we go because I am super busy about it. They just announced this, so let's just zoom in a little bit there. So, Combined Arms. You said you've been to Warlord recently, so they've announced this just this week, maybe or end of last week. Pre-orders via Warlord are up now. So this is a board game that they have created for anyone that's missed it, but it is also a campaign system. So the idea being is that you play this board game, you've got these tokens and so forth that you play, you've got cards, so you've got the operational level and the strategic level, and they've got 4 campaign theaters on these hex boards. You've got a play board. We can look at them in a bit more detail in a minute. You've got your little miniatures, look beautiful. And you're gonna play. So the idea is your Bolt Action games, your Blood Red Skies, all that kind of stuff. You can play a series of connected games, and they actually have meaning. And I think the actual game itself is going to be more like tank versus infantry gets +2, roll a d6, see who wins. Is how the campaign fighting would work if you choose to play that way exclusively. But I really like the look of this. I think that our experience of the SPQR campaign has made me feel we want to play more campaigns.
We could make something of this, yeah.
Yeah, John and I have a decent British and German collection for World War II already. I've got the Airfix Blood Red Skies models. I've got the Cruel Seas set with all the multi-torpedo boats and stuff, which suits the channel down to the ground. I like this. So my hopes for this are very high. I have very good feelings about this.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it too. I love a good campaign system. I was talking about this earlier, where my favorite games are the ones where you're not just playing disconnected games. You feel like I have to win this game, otherwise I'm never going to recover. And this is, it's a smart move on Warlord's part, right? Because they're going to get anyone who's playing Bolt Action already is going to think, oh, maybe I should play Blood Red Skies too.
But you don't have to, because you can resolve that bit separately. What I'm hoping that we'll do, if the campaign system doesn't already include it, is we'll probably each player picks which of the battles in this turn they want to fight. And so in John's case, he'll pick the battle that he doesn't need to win as the one that he'll fight.
The crucial one that I do need to win,
you roll the dice.
I will roll a dice,
So it looks pretty fun. Callum, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that there's an opportunity down the line for them to just produce more packs for it, and you'll. Because I'm guessing they're not double-sided. If they are, you got 8. But if there's only 4, you're soon going to get a bit bored of playing 4. That. So I think map packs down the line. I think there's loads of room for expansion on it.
Yeah. But you definitely have, look, as you see, you got factories and things. So you've definitely got production and so forth. And these little tokens, Blitz tokens, you do have the option for combined arms, like mechanized forces. So I don't know whether to play that thing you'd need, whether you'd need the tank war supplement as well. But that's something we've been thinking about doing for a while. We've just never quite got around to doing it. But
I mean, there's potential for other eras as well. Black Powder and.
But no, it wasn't this one. It was the other one. What I felt particularly strongly about is there's more to it than just the battles, because you've got these decks. So these are going to make the campaign not just the series of connected battles. And if, like a lot of more modern campaigns, hopefully John's infantry piece and my infantry piece both represent 1,000 points of bolt action, right? He doesn't have to have the guys that got beat up last week playing this week's battle. It's just you're going to fight a battle with this many points or whatever. I assume that's how it's going to work. That's how a lot of modern ones work. And because it stops the snowball problem.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem about campaign systems, isn't it?
Yes. And why they I almost never finish. It's like somebody is just so far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, and it's never you, not you personally, but I've never done it.
But what you want is the campaign system where you've got the tactical and then the strategic levels, the two different levels.
Yeah.
And one influences the other, and vice versa.
Yeah, but you can lose on the tactical and still win on the strategic, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you keep.
I was going to say, unfortunately, this has been the purview of computer games, so hopefully they finally cracked it for a tabletop game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We shall see.
The old Mighty Empire games for GW games, similar idea. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us have very fond memories of attempts at campaigns that didn't finish. Mighty Empires is an example. We had a massive Mighty Empires campaign in my club. It lasted about 6 months, and each person played about 2 games. But what we discovered, certainly within the channel, is if we have 2 people doing it, we're already playing bolt action once every 6 weeks, right, or whatever. So we're now doing it. There's a reason why these 2 armies are fighting.
It's not all about ducks and geese.
Well, I mean, I do that with so my regular opponent for Beyond the Gates of Antara is we at one point we were meeting up like once a week to go and play down at Entoyment, and without any kind of campaign system in mind, we were putting together a narrative just because it makes the games more interesting. Rather than just these 2 armies cross paths and we'll fight until one of them is wiped out. Always have an objective in mind and always kind of put some kind of narrative to it, because it just it gives you ideas as well to fuel future games.
And that's naming heroes goes a long way to that.
Yeah, it really does.
As a starting point, I know it sounds like a small thing, but if you go down and start allocating some names and start referring to them, I don't mean I want to read your 20 pages of fluff on your Pink Marines, right? Because I definitely don't. That's for you.
You want your own, don't you? Right?
But if your machine gunner in the first section is called Ginger and he dies in every battle, that's the story.
Yeah.
But until you've named that guy or paid attention to that particular model,
it just won't happen.
Just naming your section leaders, you'll start to notice.
It's like this now. The objective is for me to leave this stream, and the narrative is I want a cigarette. So that's a campaign. That's how it works.
That's subtle.
All right. So, as a shameless shill thing, we're going to be open for pre-orders on that new Warlord campaign system tomorrow on the Modeling for Advantage website. And I believe Mrs. Kaiser, because it's a pre-order, it's our first ever pre-order thing. We're taking a bit of a risk here. We've ordered a chunk of them. I think she's going to offer 20% off, but I'll put a post on the Facebook page. Don't feel obliged to buy from us. You probably can get it cheaper in other places. I won't deny that. Absolutely, we're not the cheapest, but it is a great way of supporting the channel. Final remarks, and where did you get up to with your hobbying? I have got a coat of streaky white paint on all of these MDF buildings. John.
Beautiful. The Romans they're all flocked up, mate. They are completely flocked.
Little people.
Fact. Where did you get up to, Callum?
I got the boots, hats, black bits done on 5 Britishers.
Had some boots. That's Google rapping.
And
Jamie?
I didn't even get one skeleton assembled. This is Clarence. He's going to be my first skeleton in the vein of naming.
Is
he dancing?
He does look like he's dancing. Clarence is a dancer.
They're the Warlord runs, right? Where you've got to like pop the feet in, and you've got
they're super fiddly, but they are nice.
They're really fiddly.
But yeah, well, I think it makes up for the time that you don't have to spend painting them so much, because white spray and a bit of ink and I'm done. In fact, send me that
quick dip.
Yeah, exactly. We're sorted. So
all right,
awesome.
So Jamie, just remind them again where they can find the app and those kind of things.
Yeah, so the Fallout app, if you happen to be playing Fallout Wasteland Warfare, just go onto either the Google Play Store or onto the iOS App Store and just search for Fallout Wasteland Warfare. And then for the Warlord app, it's just at app.warlordgames.com, and you can go on your phone or on your desktop, and eventually it will make its way onto Google Play and on the App Store as well. And obviously, if you're subscribed to the Warlord newsletter, at some point, hopefully soon, we'll be announcing that it's kind of complete, or that we need more testers and that kind of thing. So, but get on there, find out, let me know what you think. I think my contact details should be on the app somewhere. If they're not, I've failed massively. If they just in case they're not, it's they are. There's a contact us, but you can just send me an email at warlord@maloric.com. And Maloric is Maloric. But just look at the app and you can find my details on there. So if you've got any ideas for the app, if you've got any problems with the app, if you don't like my face, you can just send me emails. I've got a filter set up for those. I already get enough abusive emails about my face. So,
mate.
All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the show so far. We have got an unboxing of Kasserine, the new mid-war starter for Flames of War, coming out tomorrow, which I did with Wally Mike. If you like the Hit the Beach starter for Flames of War, this thing is even better. There's something like 20 tanks in there for 40 quid. It's fantastic. And North Africa is where I think the real war was fought. And on Friday, we've got a Kill Team Battle Report coming out, which is already viewable for members of the YouTube channel, but it will come out for general release on Friday, and it is a brutal game. Look at John, pumped, mate. He's pumped. All right, guys, that's it from us. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.